Apologies, I look pretty rough, but well, first of all, it's very early in the morning, and second of all, I slept in the back of my sister's car. I'm in Moab, Utah, about to go on a jetboat excursion on Texas Riverways. They take you on trips on the Colorado and the Green River. Anyways, they take you on these excursions up the river for like kayakers, canoers. You know, you do those kind of canoe trips where you paddle down and they shuttle you back. Well, that's not what we're doing. We're here on another Canadian scavenger hunt for those Canadians that send us locations and then we go take a picture of ourselves at that location and then get a prize. Well, we're doing one of those, and we have to go to the confluence of the Green River and the Colorado River. I guess they're two major rivers, and they come together at this spot called the Confluence. It's supposed to be very dramatic. I think the Colorado is sort of a reddish color, the Green River is green, so where they meet, I think the Green River just kind of butts up against the Colorado, and it supposedly looks kind of weird and interesting. But we're supposed to go to that confluence area, and there's like a little kind of peninsula in the middle with a big boulder on it that has some kind of interesting history. So we booked ride-alongs with the Texas Riverway people on their jetboat as they are shuttling people to their canoes and whatnot. They also take ride-along passengers, and they're going to drop us off at the boulder and then pick us up again about 45 minutes later, take us back. So it's about 7:30 in the morning. We're just loading up our gear and some snacks and stuff for the day, and then we're going to follow the Texas bus down to the launch and get on board for the ride of our lives. Whew. All right, had a few minutes to freshen up and put a little makeup on as we were waiting for Tex, actually his name's Kenny, to load all our gear into the trailer. What he's doing is he's taking a bunch of other people upriver and dropping them off to go on a multi-day backpacking trip. It sounds really cool. And he's dropping off people here and there along the river. He's going to drop my sister and I off at the confluence on this little sandy beach peninsula where there's this boulder. So right now we're just loading up our gear. We're going to take it down here to the launch ramp and get on board for the fun adventure ahead. It's supposed to be really cold. It's kind of chilly out this morning, and we're going to be having like 30-mile-an-hour blasting wind in our face, so we packed warm. I got hot hands, I got my coat on, I got some hot cocoa with schnapps in it. I've never been this far north on the Colorado. I'm used to going out on Black Canyon below the Hoover Dam, you know, where the Colorado River comes out of Lake Mead after it's been neutered by the Hoover Dam. But up here, you know, this is it in all its full glory. Okay, check this out. Here comes the boat that we're about to get in. That's our jet boat. Look at that. Oh, fun. This is going to be awesome, man. I can't wait. Good thing I wore sunblock. We're going to be in the sun all day. Look how beautiful this is. Just left us here on this beach at the confluence of the Colorado River, and the Green River comes out of that canyon over there, which hopefully I'll be able to hike up higher a bit and get a better overview of it. So he dropped us off, and then he's going to drop off the rest of the passengers in Canyonland State Park, which is 5 minutes downriver. He's going to drop them off, unload all their gear, pick up some new backpackers that just finished from their trip, load all their gear up, and then he'll come back and pick us back up and take us back to the launch area. So he said we'll be here for an hour or less, and there's supposed to be a trail right behind this tree that leads right up to this boulder that we need to go to. So first things first, man, that was a 2-hour ride, and it was cold. I mean, it's April 21st, but it was kind of, I guess, unseasonably cool today. I don't know. We were going about 30 miles an hour, and the wind was so cold in my face. But, you know, I had my coat, and I had my schnapps and cocoa, and I have those little hot hands hand warmers that you keep in your pockets, so that helped a lot. But now I'm gonna change into my hiking shoes and get ready to go up and check out this boulder. All right, so the guy who dropped us off here, our boat pilot, so there was a trail coming right up from this tree, which looks like there is, following that, and it's gonna wind up around up this hillside, and we should get a really cool overlook at the confluence of the Green and the Colorado rivers. It's really a peaceful place. Look how peaceful this is. I mean, you can see this, it's kind of like a peninsula that we're on. Some kind of animals live out here. Little poops. It's like a rabbit or something. Cactus. Wow. I'm gonna be careful hiking here. Whew. It's so interesting to think about back in the day, the early explorers that paddled on this river. Those guys were hardy because, you know, not only did they not have the modern day gear that we have, you know, they didn't have dry bags and Yeti coolers. They just had hardtack and jerky and buckskin bags, right? And then there was like Indians that they probably, you know, Native Americans shooting arrows at them from the cliffs. Oh man, those guys, they had it rough. So the boulder that we're hiking to has historical significance. I think it was part of a surveying expedition in the late 1800s. This guy had like a really poorly outfitted crew, I guess. Bunch of boats with their gear in these zinc-lined wooden boxes floating behind that they towed behind the, I guess the main boat was called the Brown Betty. And when they got to some rapids, the Brown Betty started to get sucked into the rapids, and the cart, because of all the cargo boxes it was towing. So they had to cut off all the cargo boxes, losing all their food and supplies. And then I think the boat, the Brown Betty itself, went down anyways after all that. Oh, and the expedition leader refused to buy life vests for anyone, so guess what happened? He ended up drowning, and the two guys that he had working for him, it was these two African-American river guys. They were among the first ever African-American river runners. They sound like really interesting characters. Unfortunately, one of them passed away on the trip. I think he drowned. I think the other guy lived. It's interesting when I read about people like that, it's like, how come Will Smith or somebody doesn't make a movie about those dudes? It kind of reminds me also when I was in Yosemite last summer or last fall. They have a little museum in Yosemite, and it was showing pictures of like back in the 1920s, the 1890s. Even back then, the rich people from San Francisco loved to go like on safari, on expedition to Yosemite. So they would hire a stagecoach, you know, to go out there, and it was kind of, you know, off-roading, right? Like stagecoach off-roading. But there was this one stagecoach driver who was like the most sought after, the most capable. If you were anybody, you would get this guy to take you out there. And they had a picture of the guy, like a photograph from back in those days, like a black and white, you know, those really cool old time photos. And he was a badass, this stagecoach driver. He was this really handsome, dashing black dude. Can you imagine back in those days? I mean, that was a big deal. He seemed like a really interesting, cool historical figure. And I just wonder why Will Smith or somebody didn't make a movie about him. Like, I feel like our priorities are kind of screwy. Like, the people that we idolize in today's world, like, you know, Tom Brady, woo, throws a football, what a man. You know, like, I don't know, to me, that's, I mean, what Tom Brady does is definitely impressive. He's in amazing shape, and he can run and throw and this and that. But, I don't know, it seems a lot more impressive to be, like, the first ever African-American river runner, right? You're facing racism and murderous Native Americans, and your gear's all floating away, and expedition leader won't pay for life vests. I mean, to me, that's way more dramatic and exciting, but what do I know? These beautiful cactus flowers. So pretty this time of year. Bright red blossoms. So awesome. All right, enough yakking. We got to get to this boulder. All right, far out. This is the boulder we were looking for, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's very faint writing on it. Looks like you can see where it says USRS 1919, and then at the bottom there it says Elevation 16.62. Wow. And then I found the history. I had it saved on my phone of this little spot. This boulder here, it's a survey benchmark from the tragic 1889 Stanton Brown expedition. That's the expedition I was telling you guys about earlier, where everybody died because it was so poorly planned. I mean, imagine that. Back in 1889, you're cruising up this river doing surveying for the railroad. Well, first of all, it says that when they resurveyed this area, the Colorado River, in the 1990s, this benchmark was found to be within a couple feet of perfection. So they really were pretty good at what they were doing. But it says after completing their survey of the Grand River, which back then it wasn't called the Colorado, this was called the Grand River. So after they finished their survey, they towed their boat upstream through the shallows of the Green River, 120 miles up to Green River, Utah. So that would have been up that way. That's the Green River. And they became the first people to navigate upstream through Stillwater and Labyrinth canyons. So that portion of the expedition was a great success. But then once they got to Green River, Robert Brewster Stanton and Frank Mason Brown and 14 others embarked in 6 poorly designed boats inappropriately made of cedar instead of oak. They towed their supplies in zinc-lined wooden boxes behind their overloaded boats, which created the trip's first disaster in the first rapid of Cataract Canyon. That's where I was telling you guys where the boat got pulled into the rapids. Yeah, they were trying to cross the river above the first rapid, and the supply boxes got caught by the current and had to be cut away, thus destroying a significant portion of their food stock. Oh, man. And then because they didn't have life jackets for the expedition, well, that led to the expedition leader himself, the guy Brown. He was the one who was in charge of not buying the life jackets. He died of a drowning in a small ripple in Marble Canyon in what's now the Grand Canyon. They call it Brown's Ripple. And then one of those African-American river rafters also died in a rapid farther downstream. So those African-American river runner guys, the guy who died was named Peter M. Hansbrough, and the other guy's name was Henry C. Richards, and they were the first African-American river runners in canyon country. I think that's pretty interesting. You never hear about guys like that. Whew. All right, hiked back down from the boulder. Now I'm just chilling here on the beach, waiting for my ride to come pick me back up. It was a really cool little excursion. It was really interesting for me because I live in Vegas, which is also on the Colorado River, right? The Colorado River, I think it starts out in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, and it flows all the way down, if you look at a map, through Utah, and then it might even cut through a corner of Arizona. Well, obviously it does because the Grand Canyon's in Arizona, so it goes through Arizona, and then it comes out into Lake Mead, or where it's been, dammed up to create Lake Mead, and then it goes through the Hoover Dam, and then it comes down into Black Canyon, which is, only 45 minutes from Vegas, and that's where all those amazing hot springs are. So I've been on the lower Colorado many times in Black Canyon and Lake Mojave down that way by Laughlin, Havasu, Parker Dam. As a matter of fact, I've even followed the Colorado River all the way down to like the Salton Sea, Imperial Valley, when it dumps out, or it used to dump out, into the Sea of Cortez, which is that little gulf between Baja California and mainland Mexico. Well, I say it used to dump out there because it's so taxed now with all these water-hungry states using it, like California, Nevada, Arizona. I think there's like 12 or 14 different states that use the water from the Colorado River. But they drink so much of it that by the time it gets down to Mexico now, it's dried up. So up here, though, flowing fine up here. It's a beautiful day. Water's deep, peaceful. This would be a great river to raft, For me, my taste is more, let me have a drink and kick back in the sun. I'm not into that whitewater rapid stuff. So I'm just going to enjoy the rest of my time on the beach here at the Confluence, because when else am I ever going to be at the confluence of the mighty Colorado and the Green River? Cheers! shore, man. Oh, my sister left her car parked here, so we're gonna shake all the sand out of our gear, change into some, town clothes, and go get a beer and a burger in Moab to celebrate another job well done, another GPS coordinate reached, and another fun adventure had on the beautiful Colorado River.